What's good, family? I have missed you all so much, and I know it's been a little bit. You've missed me too, but that's what I'm here for. It's time for another family therapy session, and I like it when y'all act this way. I must say that when you guys act the way that y'all have been acting in regards to Hovey and Ciara, my gosh, y'all are the reason why I got into doing what I'm doing in the first place. But there's some other things that I want to talk about first. And I just want to know how y'all feel. There's a lot of madness going on. And you know what? I must be honest. It's not just the Christian hip hop fans. This whole world has gone crazy over the past little bit. I mean, Kendrick Lamar decided it was a good idea to run back his diss record 7 times back to back. And you know what really pisses me off about that whole situation? It's not even the fact of like what they're getting into or whatever issues that they have with each other. It is very telling of you niggas who was rocking with Drake at some point. I know you feel like that I'm going, just off on this rant, but I'm not. I want you guys to stay with me. This is one of the many things that I wanted to talk to you guys about. Again, remember, this is family therapy session. This is anything that has been irritating me or bothering me. I want to come to you guys. I want to talk. That way y'all can let me know if I'm tripping or not. Okay? So when it comes to the Kendrick Lamar and Drake situation, and Kendrick playing his diss record against Drake 6 times back to back, 48, whatever you want to say, I look at all the niggas that's celebrating and all the people that's happy and who's rocking and bobbing their heads and really singing lyrics word for word. And it's real telling of you niggas who once rode for Drake so hard. Here is a man who has given you countless classics, and just because he just so happened to lose a battle, oh, how quickly we forget that he has literally supplied you all with seasonal hits. Look, he only has 1 loss on his record, and that's from this situation. That's no means to abandon ship. That's no means to turn your back on the man once known as Drizzy Drake, now famously known as BBL Drizzy. But that's not the point. That is not the case. There are plenty of people in history who have ones on their record when we're talking about losses, and you haven't lost any respect for them. So why must you turn your back on Drake? I get it. Everybody wants to talk about, oh, well, he doesn't really write his raps, and oh, he was just violated, he lost, and everything. I get those points. Those points are very valid. However, this is still Drake. This is the guy that has supplied you all with plenty of records when Kendrick would go inactive. This is still the guy that has one of the most classic records. And if you're reading this, it's too late. This is still that guy, and yet you non-believers have turned your back on Mr. Graham. When you were just a few weeks ago rapping every single lyric of his, I'm talking about you, Mr. James, the GOAT that is LeBron James, King James, NBA royalty, seemed to be enjoying that Kendrick concert just a little bit too much. If I'm not mistaken, doesn't Drake have a tattoo of Mr. James? He's proved his undoubted loyalty to him. He's shown his unwavering support, like even being the ambassador for the Toronto Raptors. He still was not ashamed of Lay James. And so to see you at this concert and enjoying yourself as much as you have been, this is where I say I'm sick of you niggas. All of y'all, I've been watching, all of y'all are doing the exact same thing. Y'all were just Drake fans a week ago. I can't trust y'all. I can't trust y'all at all. Because if y'all willing to do that, it's becoming more. Now, a lot of the topic is upon Kendrick saying that he brought the whole coast together. Saying that he had different gangs and different affiliates and different sections at the end of this song that is dissing that Drizzy Drake fella. People caught a little bit of an issue with that. And there's two sides of this. There are some of these people who are saying, you know what? Yes, he did. Someone being from where he's from, someone who looks like me, someone who has been through what I've been through, seen what I have seen. This, yes, is a huge moment for not hip-hop. And on one side, you can't say that it's a huge moment for hip-hop because ain't nobody died yet from this beef. Matter of fact, I just saw that Florida rapper by the name of Fulio, who I've seen around a little bit, was just shot during his 26th birthday. I didn't dive deep enough into it to know what this is from. However, I do understand that with it being Florida and with the rap politics out that way, I can only imagine what that may be. But in this situation, no rapper died, no rapper was shot, nobody was really threatened. I mean, I understand the whole Drake situation happened with a security guard, but nobody was really threatened. So in that vein, yes, this is a huge moment for hip-hop. But for those who don't understand how massive this is for gang politics and California politics, that someone like a Kendrick Lamar, who is LA through and through, Compton to be exact, through and through, this is a huge deal that while some can blame concern or say that, yeah, but it took this and a whole other rapper to do this, hey, call it what it is. Again, like I said, nobody got hurt. Kendrick Lamar's wife was there, or fiance was there enjoying the show with everybody else, regardless of the allegations for which Sir Graham put forth. Regardless of any of that, she is standing by and showing her support even during the diss, even during the bop that is Not Like Us. So this moment that united these people, it's not about what it was over, I guess you could say. It's the fact that someone like a Kendrick Lamar was able to show the respect that he receives, or the respect that he has on the West Coast, by gathering these people from different hoods together. I could see why people would see a problem with this. When you can see past the emotion on whose side you're on in regards to this, you can see that this was a really big situation. Now, does this go past the record? Does this go past what we actually saw? I mean, he made his claim. He said what he said. He said this is bigger than what you all are seeing right now. If you truly understood what's really happening right here, then you would understand and truly get this moment. But does this extend past the record? I personally feel like that a lot of the niggas was just excited to be up there. I mean, come on. Seeing people like Russell Westbrook and DeMar DeRozan having a great time, not mad at that. And I guess at some point, Russ was banging rolling 60s or banging Crip. And I've seen different documentaries on DeMar repping as well, heavily when he was in Toronto. But that's not their life right now. Like, that's not their reality right now. They're multi-million-dollar NBA players. But they were just excited to be on stage with Kendrick, the hottest rapper in the game, literally right now. Nigga, I done heard They Not Like Us at churches. I done heard They Not Like Us at grocery stores, on radio stations that normally don't even play black radio. Like, this moment is a huge moment within hip-hop in general, that two of the rappers that set in that God tier status were able to go bar for bar, record for record. People are just going to want to be a part of that moment. People are just going to want to say, I know where I was when this happened. And so I don't believe that Russ and DeMar were the only ones that were in this moment and just excited to be on that stage. I think I've seen a Big Boy as well to be excited to be on this stage. So maybe this doesn't extend past the record, but this shows the work that these artists, I know Nipsey Hussle was one, a big advocate for, you know what I'm saying, trying to bring good within these neighborhoods, trying to give them access to more things than what they would normally have access to. And there are plenty of rappers and plenty of programs and plenty of people that are doing work to try and stop the senseless gang violence, to try to stop the beef. It's pretty ironic that in a beef that he had, he chose to show the world what unity actually looks like and what putting aside your differences actually look like. It's pretty ironic. But then again, in a very Kendrick Lamar type of way, it's very poetic at the same time. Like, what? Do we take this and be like, you know what? It's just a song. Like, I don't even really hate Drake like that. Or was it the moment that they jumped on each other's families that led to this being more than what it is? But that moment was a huge moment for the West Coast. That was a huge moment for hip-hop. There was a huge moment for different sets, and this is what they made it look like. And this may extend past the song. I believe that Kendrick has a pulse on the culture. Kendrick has his ear to the streets. Kendrick probably speaks to these people at least just to check in every now and again, just to say that he hasn't forgot. And so his respect from them goes a long way. And maybe he has been having these conversations, so this was a building block or a building point upon those moments that he's had, and they have given us this moment. Call it what you want, but I think it's dope. Now, does him going 6 times with the record make it even worse for Drake? I don't know. I mean, Drake seems to be enjoying himself to the record as well. He's performing it at shows. That and BBL Drizzy. It's that much of a hit, and that's the way to show that you are unbothered. But as my brother told me, Drake needed this shot at his ego. Drake's not even from here. That's what everybody's going off of, and that's why they're saying that this was never going to go the way that people thought it was going to go, because people are rallying behind the person from American soil versus the guy from Canada who's cosplaying. Not saying they don't have real gangs out in Canada. I'm sure that they do. Not saying that they don't have a real street life in Canada. This is not just a national thing, guys. This is a global situation. But because Clarence has both his parents, and both his parents have a really good marriage, this is the public perception that we all have come to, or that a lot of people have come to. And this is why people say that this was dead in the water, especially at this moment. He's not taking offense to it, so y'all shouldn't either. But oftentimes, the little baby stepbrother of hip-hop, the one that a lot more people are starting to talk about. Y'all gotta get off them damn remixes. Damn, y'all gotta get off of them. Yo, I'm just calling it what it is. But what often happens in these situations is that we find a way to make it about us. And one of the posts, or one of the things that I saw, was from our very own Drelo. Shouts out to him and his Invasion tour. I think there's even like where he constantly travels city to city and has multiple artists, and it's a way to break and showcase multiple artists that's really doing a lot of work. But he said, this was a huge moment, and I've never seen CHH do anything like this. And of course my initial response was something like that. But of course my initial response was like, here we go. Here we go again. Yep. We still here. Obviously, it's something that has been going on. You're going to have two sides of the Christian hip-hop fence, guys. You're going to have those that do it with all zeal and without wavering and are not going to bend any rules, because they're the ones who want to reach, more of those, hardcore, send everybody to hell that's not doing the right thing. Like, those people are needed. Those are the ones that capture the real young, very first, there's nothing better than this, maybe never even seen outside of the church fans, right? You gonna have the other side that's just like, yo, all these fake rules and all these things that y'all trying to make people do that say you can't do music unless you do it this way. You can't do Christian music unless you do it this way. Them niggas is lames. And I'm going to do it my way. And it's going to be for who it's for. And I really don't care. Right? And that oftentimes feeds the people in the streets. Those who are battling coming. Those who are battling going back. Those who don't want to lose themselves fully, or are afraid to lose themselves, so they ain't quite got on the train. Those that go through real life issues, and not saying that the other side doesn't, because they definitely do. There's music for those people who just call on God and it'll be all right. Those are great. But then you have the other side as well that's like, hey, I've tried that and it feels like he's not there. Like, both sides are needed, but those sides are two sides that will never agree. They never will agree. Now, I think that you can look at somebody like a KB, a Triple E, maybe even a Miles Minnick. I've had multiple conversations with Miles Minnick. Those are the people where it's like 1K Few, where it's like, well, no, not few, my bad. But those are the ones that are like, hey, I'm hardcore Christian. I'm Bible all day, yet I understand what you're talking about and what you're going through is real. Like, I'm not dismissing that. So there are some of those people that look back and can kind of see it from both sides. But for the most part, both of these people or both of these sides hardly ever agree. And it's not just the fans, it's the artists that are bickering and that are having these issues. Now, I would say, he says that, why can't we ever do that? Maybe one day, right? But I'm to say that these situations, maybe not in a grand scheme for what you would want it to be, have happened. But these situations definitely happen. I mean, think no further than his own tour. His tour is made up of different artists from different backgrounds that have different viewpoints on how one should make music. He'll have a few, a Miles Minnick and a Caleb Gordon on the same type of tour, who all make music differently, who all connect to their audiences differently. And this is the type of tour that he does. So he's already doing that and bringing different fans of different sides together. Now, that's never been, I guess, an issue for fans to come together. They're going to come to see their favorite artist. But if anybody was going to put on a show where they put on, or they'll have Hovey and Lil Baby perform on the same stage, that would be his tour, the Invasion Tour. That would be these moments where you bring all these viewpoints together. I don't think it's ever going to be 100%. I don't think it's ever going to be a situation where you have everybody together at once and it's all perfect harmony. Why? Because we don't need that. We need people to respect other people's opinions. We need people to respect and want to see other people's viewpoints. We need people not tearing each other down just because the way that they may be moving is a little bit different from yours. A lot of times, a lot of this stuff that y'all are jumping on other people about is strictly for you. A lot of times this is something that you've gotten placed within your spirit or placed within your vision for you, not for nobody else. And there is no way that if everybody does it the exact same way, if everybody does it for the exact same thing, if everybody uses the exact same bait, there are corners of this great world that you aren't going to reach because they just did it your way. See, I think a lot of times what people forget is that music in itself is art. And there's not one way to make art. We don't like Michelangelo because of Picasso. We don't like Timbaland because of Ye. Things are made to be different. Things are made to evolve. Things are made, especially when we're talking about art, to change, to be precious in the sight of the beholder, to catch everyone for which its purpose was to catch. So this dream that we're all going to be in a kumbaya isn't going to happen. Isn't it famous? So what is it? Iron sharpens iron, right? For us to have these, we have to have these difference of opinions. We have to, in order to have these difference of conversations, or in order to have these one-on-ones, you don't get those if everybody is believing and doing the same thing. So again, I don't believe that this will ever happen. If it does, cool, but I just don't believe that it's necessary, because what's working is what's working. A lot of people are speaking in regards to Hovey and having Ciara, in regards to Hovey having Ciara on the remix to Alter. One of his biggest records, by the way. Yes, that's Ciara. Ciara. Uh-huh. Yeah, that one. Miss Goodies. Miss Miss 1 2 Step. That Ciara has the Christian hip-hop fans in an uproar. And it is because some are saying that she doesn't live the lifestyle for which she is singing about. And I really do enjoy these topics. Mr. Marcus Rogers made sure that his voice was heard in regards to this. I don't know if y'all know this, but half of the Christian rappers are not living the life that they're rapping about. A lot of this is a goal for them. A lot of them are trying to wrap themselves to being the person that they rap about. A lot of these are real testimonies and real cries from them wanting to be in the place that you so eloquently believe that they're in. And the other thing is, it's not even all those that you think it may be. Now, some of them you could probably nail right on the head. That's okay. But the ones that you really think that spend 35 hours a day in their prayer closet writing music to set the captives free, they're not. And that's okay, because we all have goals in life. We all have things we want to attain. We all have things and places that we want to be. And this is no different. For them, I find this kind of fun. Honestly, I'm really sick of y'all niggas. I am. That should be the title of this episode. I'm really sick of y'all niggas, because this makes no sense. I would believe that Christian hip-hop fans, as smart as they are, knowing what record label he is a part of, knowing that they are no stranger to putting someone who wouldn't necessarily all the time be considered a Christian artist on a record. Like, if you just put Dro on a record, like, this isn't new to these artists doing this. Now, some artists may not ever do this, and that is very well within their choice. I remember very vividly Alex Jean and Caleb Gordon said, if Drake called, I don't want a feature. I would not take a Drake feature. But it's other people who are more in touch with reality, I believe, would take a Drake feature. Why wouldn't you take a Drake feature? Well, because whatever God did for them, he could do for me. And you're not wrong, but he hasn't. So take the Drake feature, okay? But there are artists that, no matter what, that's not what they're going to do. They're not going to rock that boat. They're going to stay right where they are. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But again, back to this point, guys, if somebody is doing it a little bit different from you, it doesn't mean that it's wrong. Okay, say it with me. If someone is doing it a little bit different than you, it does not mean that it's wrong. Thank you. Now, doesn't that feel better? Doesn't that feel great? Guys, it's not your job as fans to police these artists' lifestyles. It's not your job as fans to judge their intentions when doing certain things. They went and got Ciara. Like, wasn't Ciara just praised on the Shade Room not too long ago? Because I believe on Summer Walker's new record, new album, or I believe on Summer Walker's album, she had a prayer or something like that. And apparently this prayer, oh my, to wait and to have God give you a man, much like Russell Wilson. Like, this is someone who has spoken about her faith publicly in a lot of situations. And because they don't consistently make Christian music, which someone like Ciara isn't even dropping music at that great of a rate anyways, but because they are not doing this, you feel that now this person is leading people to hell, and they are repentative of it. Y'all don't understand that these moments, I've heard these artists say this, these moments are moments that they actually get to talk to God. Unfortunately, they can't do it in their current situation, mainly because their fans don't want to hear it. We saw what happened with Chance the Rapper when he was trying to change his life around, and then he made a whole album about his wife. Like, we understand that the fans want something from you. It is what you have gave them. They want that from you all the time, and they don't want you to change up. Like, we get that, okay? But that's just not how life works. The older you get, the more you see certain things matter and other things don't, and the more you adjust, and the more you adjust accordingly. Life throws punches, you duck, you bob and weave, and you change the game plan. That is the way that these things work. So artists, again, I told y'all about art. It's made to change, it's made to evolve, it's made to transform. It is made to be different and unique to the artiste. That is what is going to happen. But unfortunately, sometimes they get pigeonholed and they're not able to be fully who they want to be. So these moments that they get to collab with these Christian artists, they get to be that. But slow down. Y'all niggas like, yeah, and that's the only way that they're going to be able to share the gospel with them and blah, blah, blah. A lot of times, that's not even what this is about. A lot of times, these records are just records that two artists were fans of each other on, and they did the record. But in other times, these are the chances, these are the opportunities, these are the ways that people are able to have that conversation publicly that they would like to have. And Ciara is no different. Again, guys, y'all seen Hovey. So y'all, he caught y'all. See? The Great White Hope. Y'all thought he could do no wrong, but in this situation, come on, let's be smart about this. The record label for which he is on, this is what they do. They're called Reach Records for a reason. They have their hands and faces in places that a lot of people don't. And there's a lot of street level niggas that have their hands and faces in places that they themselves, Reach Records, cannot get into. I'm very aware of that. But when it comes to this is what they're able to do. So I don't even know why y'all surprised. Like, these are the chances that they take all the time. And as long as the artist abides by the rules set forth on their project or for the record itself, then there's nothing wrong with it. There's no different than, and this is what I don't understand, Marcus Rogers, you old enough to know, man. Come on. All these artists that your mom and your grandmother listened to, a lot of times they went back and forth because the music transitioned so well. It was the only way they were truly able to do both, and they did not care. Patti LaBelle, not saying that you're this old, but your people, Patti LaBelle famously made records outside of the church and then famously made a record for the church. This is what they do. Even Kanye West doing it how he's done it, and yes, it completely looks like he's lost his marbles, but he too was able to make a record for the church. Records with an S for the church. And now he's back to whatever he was doing before. It's okay. Those moments are moments meant for that time that they were done for. And what are y'all mad for? Really? Just because it wasn't y'all? Y'all truly feel like that somebody is leading someone astray by getting a non-Christian artist, by definition, by the way, because who I believe she claims to be a Christian, but to get a non-Christian artist who's not Christian by profession on a record to sing about God, and y'all have a problem with it because y'all feel like people are going to search out Ciara and then go and find her other music. Good for them. They need to know what music sounded like before we got to where we are. They need to know that her and Jazzy Faye was a duo that could not miss. They need to know what it was like to be outside roller skating. Let them learn the 1-2 step. That's good for them. And newsflash, these people probably already listen to whatever they want to listen to anyways. You know, one of the biggest culture shocks for me being a church kid was when I would ride with certain people and their playlist. I'm not talking about now. I'm talking about when I was younger. Before I actually saw people for who they were. Before I actually got to see the real world outside of the walls. It was real culture shocking to me that people would have Kirk Franklin on and then the next record would be some Master P. Like, that was different for me. But this was people letting you know I'm all of that. This was people understanding like, yo, this is a good song right here. This is what I play to keep my spirits high. This is what I play to keep things off of me. And then go back to listening to Cube. Like, it's okay. There are real people. That's real to me. Instead of someone being fake, instead of someone trying to hide it, instead of someone acting as if it's not a real occurrence for these things to happen, you're all of that. And you own that. Thank you. It's not as big of a problem as you all make it. This is typical of Christian hip-hop. This is typical of CHH. Taking a situation that should have been meant for good, taking something that everybody really should have just minded their own business. You got a problem with it? Okay, cool. But don't make it like it's the ultimate sin. And come on, man. Y'all know what record label he's a part of. Y'all know this isn't new. What Up RG is eventually going to have Bad Bunny on the record. And they're going to be singing about the glories of God. And that's okay. That's great. Hand clap for that. Thank you. That's going to be so beautiful when it happens. I want to say Pastor Mike Jr. performed with CeeLo Green because he has a record that sampled one of CeeLo Green's records. He turned it into a Christian song, and now he got CeeLo Green on it. That's fire. Considering CeeLo Green and his place within hip-hop, that's dope just in itself. But then you have someone singing about the goodness of God and singing about the glory of God that otherwise wouldn't do so. Hey, good job. Maybe you'll believe it. Who knows? Even if you don't, there's someone who's going to listen to this record that's going to be touched by what was said and who it was said by. There's always going to be a bridge. I used to say that you can only build a bridge so far until you end up crossing it. And that used to be a real worry of mine. Until I understood that there are certain people who are built for building the bridge. There are people who are built for sitting along or actually doing the work. There are certain people who are called for this. And once I knew that, and once I realized that there were more people who are in the middle of that bridge than they are who's on either one side of the other, that there are plenty of people that just need a small tug across the bridge by someone just keeping it 1,000 with them, I didn't care anymore. You know, the best thing that you could do for someone like that is to pray for them. To pray that they don't get lost. To pray that they continue the mission, that they complete the mission for which they were called for. And if they get accolades in between that, good for them. Good for them. That is the recognition for which they should be recognized for. When people are recognized in the same categories, see, it's one thing to win certain awards in a category that you're supposed to win it in. For example, a Grammy for Best Christian Record. But you win a Grammy for Best Hip Hop Record? That makes people, that piques people's interest. That makes people want to know what's so great about what you did that you got this type of recognition. I watched an interesting story in regards to Milli Vanilli. Y'all might be too young for Milli Vanilli, but anyways, Milli Vanilli was a R&B group of people from the UK or Australia, somewhere like that, who lip sung their way to R&B stardom. And I mean literally lip sung. They couldn't speak a lick of English, but they somehow could sing in English and without accents. Okay. What about LMA? Follow me. They lip sung, okay? And everybody loved their music and nobody called them out. And it wasn't until they won a Grammy that they then got exiled. Because a musician always knows. They knew that they wasn't really singing those records, but they allowed them to express their, say it with me, art. It wasn't until they got a real musician's award that everyone then said, yeah, we're not putting up with this. They're exiled. We're not doing this. And they need to have a whole press conference telling everybody how much of a fraud that they really are. It wasn't until the Grammy was won for something that it should have never been won for that people stopped playing around. So when you are in these situations and you're able to reach certain artists, and then you're even able to get certain recognitions in between these situations, that continues to point the light or to point towards people wants to know the secret. People want to know how they're able to do this. And if the artist is doing it the right way and that conversation happens, they're going to say God, and then everything that you guys are worried about is null and void. Why? Because they did exactly what they were supposed to do in the place that they were supposed to do it and fulfilled their purpose, right? Who knows? Their purpose could be just to have people get around good people and to have a more healthy lifestyle. Whether that be physically, whether that be spiritually, that is good for which that artist was able to do in their life. And again, it's dope to just say I got X, Y, and Z artist's number in my phone. It may not ever be anything, but I, as a human, completed or checked something off my bucket list. And you're not going to make me feel away because of that. So again, I say, lay off for Hovey. The record label is called Reach Records. Like, come on. He seems super ecstatic. The record is cool. It could have done without Ciara, but it doesn't matter. Or let me rephrase, it would have been okay without Ciara. It was already one of his biggest records. But now this is about to be even bigger, and this makes the original record become even bigger. This is huge, and this is nothing to be upset about. The last thing that I want to get into is I love boxing. If anybody listens to me, watches me, is around me and my brothers, shout out to my cousin Day. We love to talk boxing. I often feel like I could box. I've watched enough to study the moves and to study what I'm looking for and to see what should be done in order to win a fight. But that's nothing like actually boxing. But that's not the point. If you know me, you know I like boxing and combat sports in general. And one of the most shocking matches that I've watched this year, other than Deontay Wilder getting knocked out, Tyson Fury getting beat, was Devin Hany getting knocked out by Ryan Garcia. Now, Ryan Garcia is a social media star who essentially turned into a professional boxer and one of the biggest pay-per-view boxers in the modern era. His name carries a lot of weight. People love to hear what he has to say. Mr. Ryan Garcia knocked out one of the top fighters in the division. When we talk about people like a Tank and a Earl Spence and a Bud Crawford and a Boots, when we talk about these people, you would have had to speak about Devin Hany in this same vein. Devin Hany had over 20 fights. I believe he was actually 30-0 and had yet to be beat. And everyone knows that because of Floyd Mayweather This O means a lot. Like, it's not enough to just get in and showcase your skills and say, damn, that was a good fight. He's got a few losses on his record, but he's still one of the GOATs. Like, it's not, MMA is notorious for that, right? You'll see a fighter be 12-12, and he is still considered one of the greatest fighters the sport has ever seen. Boxing isn't like that. Boxing, at one point, you could be 40-10 and still be a great boxer. You could be 32-8 and still be considered a great boxer, especially if you have a high knockout rate. I want to say both Muhammad Ali and Tyson both lost 5 fights. Muhammad Ali for sure. Tyson's might have been 3. But no one ever says that they weren't great, right? But once Floyd Mayweather, who did it in so much style and brash, backed up the trash talk for which he talked and came out the victor each and every time and made it look effortlessly, that is when the O started to matter. You were not or are not considered a top tier fighter unless you have an O at the end of your record. And Devin Haney was one of these people. Tank is one of these people. Bud Crawford is one of these people. I consider Earl Spence to be one of these people. I think he's lost once or twice, but he's still one of these people. Not quite in that category, but you understand what I'm saying, because he's got his losses, but you get it. Devin Haney, and the world for that matter, was shocked when Ryan Garcia planted him. And Devin Haney wasn't winning this fight by no runaway or anything. Devin Haney was already getting put in a situation where we couldn't believe that Mr. Ryan Garcia, Mr. Social Media Influencer, was making it competitive. Now, Ryan Garcia has been to the mountaintop once before, and he fought Tank Davis, who currently is the face of boxing at this point. Everybody wants to see a Tank Davis fight. Everyone wants to see if he's going to continue to be as great as he's been. If you want to be in attendance at a Tank Davis fight, you're going to see several celebrities, including top boxing stars. They want to see Tank Davis fight as well. And Ryan Garcia got knocked out. He's not on that level. We knew that. But his name was big enough to give him that opportunity. It gives him so much recognition that he's able to go and fight Devin Haney, who's also mentioned in that ilk of boxers, and he got knocked out. Now, the interesting thing about this is that Mr. Haney and his camp came back and said, he failed the drug test beforehand. He had A, B, and C in his system. The loss doesn't count, and we'll be taking this before the commission. Now, most people were saying he was just upset that he lost, and why didn't you bring it up beforehand, and blah, blah, blah. And I kind of go back and forth in regards to this, because I'm like, well, of course he didn't do it beforehand, because he didn't want to miss out on all of the pay-per-view money. And Ryan Garcia had already been stripped of his belt because he came in overweight. So at this point, this fight is just a sparring session, essentially. But apparently it was real, because they felt screwed over enough that they went before the commission, and ultimately, as early as a couple days ago, avenged his loss. He now has an O on his record, and Ryan Garcia has been suspended 1 year from boxing, and he says he's retired. But whatever the case is, that is what has happened. And there's an interesting story to this. Take the L, right? Like, at least when this situation happened and you did all the right things and you got your record fixed, take it like a man and kind of be like, yeah, I didn't want to win this way, but I'm an advocate for the game. I'm an advocate for the sport. We're trying to keep it clean. You know, Floyd Mayweather used to talk about this kind of stuff all the time. Trying to keep it clean. And I'm doing everything in my power to keep it clean, making sure that tests are done, everything like that. We don't want the sport tainted. It's been tainted before. And that's the reason why we had to go through what we went through to get this done. But I don't take me getting the loss removed lightly. And I want to get back in the ring with Ryan Garcia as soon as the suspension is up. No, apparently, Mr. Devin Hany is twerking to the news that he got a W and got his O back. Where have we gone wrong? Mothers, hug your sons. Teach them to get it the hard way. Teach them to want to work for it. This cannot continue to happen. Now, in your eyes, again, this is a therapy session. In your eyes, what do you say? Do you say that he deserves or he gets to celebrate this O? Do you say, well, look, if he was cheated, he was cheated, and him getting his O back, whatever? Or are you on the side of, nah, he still got an L in my book. I don't care what his record says. I'm still going to look at him like he has one loss, and that one loss is against Ryan Garcia. If he never fights Ryan Garcia again, he will constantly have this loss. I don't care if he wins his next 50 fights. He, in fact, will still have an L in my book. And as you can tell, I'm on that side. As you can tell, I hang on that side because what are we talking about? You got beat. I want to say it was like 3 rounds to 5. If it was the 6th round, let's see, what is that, 8? It was around the 8th round. I mean, if it was 7 rounds, it was like 3 rounds to 4 or something like that on the scorecards. But this is the way that I feel about it. Let me know what you all think. Put it in the comments. Let me know. Does Devin Hany still have that O on his record, or does he have one loss to you? Did he deserve to get that loss removed? Did Kendrick Lamar really make a big difference by uniting people together during a hate session? Let me know what you all think. Put it in the comments. Hit that like button. Hit that red subscribe button. Yes, sir.